In this session, we will transfer our sketches into digital works. So I am not going to work with colors. We are not going to apply any colors in our work yet. You're free to use colors, but it should really come after we are done with the form itself. Usually color is not helpful if the form is weak. But when the form is strong, color makes it much stronger. So let's get started. As you can see, I have a folder here. It's my project folder. I like to keep things tidy, and I suggest you to follow a similar convention. This is very important for yourself, also for a agency, because you will be able to transfer your files to someone. You will be able to archive your project folder today, and 5 years from now maybe you will come back to it and everything will be clear. Also, this type of working allows you to not accidentally delete things. So I will bring everything into Illustrator and try to reorganize them. These are high quality scanned sketches. This is the format that I want you to submit your work. So you can see that this is a letter size artboard, and you can see how large it is when you compare it to a letter size. So we have a lot of pixel information, a lot of details about these works, so we can go closer and capture all those details and miss nothing. I just chose everything and dragged and dropped. It brought everything all at once. I'm just gonna separate some of them. For me, I had some potential ideas here and there. I indicated those with these circling line. It's a faint line. I can probably miss some of them, but it doesn't really matter. I would like to do 3 variations. One with typography heavy, the other is that I came up with at the end of my exploration. And I also would like to try additional ideas, like perhaps this bowl is good, or yeah, I think I will try this bowl, or I will probably try to do something with this idea. Okay, so where should I start? Okay, yeah, this is also a really good direction. This soft and bulky lettering is giving you that smooth, snowy surface. I think this style, this typeface, is communicating that idea very well. I will try this idea with or without the polar bear. Okay, I'll start with this idea first. It is always easier to copy in Illustrator, because it allows you to have this huge area. We can call it work area. Within that you can create artboards, or you can put objects and shapes. It's actually a freedom for you to create artboards and make copies of things, make variations of things. I see a lot of people delete or change whatever they are working with to apply different ideas, but that's a very dangerous approach. So I'll just copy this, and in this copy I'm gonna I am going to bring this towards the center of this artboard. So every time I do Command 1, it will just orient me towards this artboard. Okay, so this is a simple line work. I can do this with the pen tool. The main challenge here is to not lose any of these organic qualities. But here, I don't really need this organic look, I will be looking for creating an ellipse form that emulates this but also looks more organized. And I don't really like how the water looks like. Perhaps I will play with that. Okay, let's see here. There's something. When you're working with pen tool, always remember that the more anchor points you add, the more chances you will end up with something unpleasing. The reason is that, as you can see, that the purpose of pen tool is, especially the component of this pen tool, comes with two main elements. One is the anchor point, which is these points. These points are called anchor points, and the Bezier curve handle. This handle allows you to adjust the pressure, the influence of this anchor point on this line and achieve a smooth curve. So when you combine these Bezier curves in a strategic way, the line can flow very nicely. So when you have more, you actually interrupt this flow, or you have to put a lot of efforts and energy to achieve the same flow. Anytime if you want to move your work without stopping your deactivating your line work, you can press the space bar. It will quickly switch to this hand tool to navigate your artwork. At one point this will be very intuitive, but at the beginning you'll be frustrated until you get to a certain point, or create certain type of variations with this tool. I've been using pen tool for many years. I still am struggling with creating a perfect or ideal shape quickly. It really doesn't work that way. You have to put some time, and sometimes you have to introduce a point so that you can bend this in a certain way. By default, there's this stroke setting is set to corner. This might give you these very long triangle artifacts. So if you switch to the smooth round join, it will get rid of that unwanted sharp corners. Here I will try to draw this water line. For this I can use an automated tool that takes one line and turns into a wave. It's inside this effect, distort and transform, zigzag. Yes, you can use this and you can smooth it. You can change the size of the wave or ridges per segment. You can get to a point where it's nice, but I am really after something that is looking more organic, and this violates that goal. I'm just gonna do a free form to find the right form for my case. Okay, here's one thing that will be unique. Probably up until now we haven't talked about it. So Bezier handles can be separated. Let me show you this here. I'm switching to pen tool, switching between pen tool and selection tool by pressing P for pen tool and then V for selection tool. So if I started here by clicking on the artboard, or I can also drag and even create the beginning of the line with the Bezier handle, so it can have some influence to the start of the line, and I have additional lines like this. So if I use the drag selection tool and select this anchor, it actually allows me to manipulate the line, but I can also manipulate only one side of this Bezier handle by pressing Alt key or Option key on Mac. You can manipulate only one side. This is very useful, and you can actually bring this handle to the anchor point, and that removes that bending influence. As you can see, like it is bending until here, and after this point it just abruptly changes a direction rather than interpolates. Okay, another thing, when you have this flow here, this bended or manipulated line with the Bezier handles, you can actually cancel them. If you go to your, let's say you're with your pen tool mode is active, you can press the Alt key and click on this anchor point. It will cancel all the Bezier handles, but in this case it's not canceling the start. That is easy. You can just switch to this and let's see if it's gonna cancel. Yeah, it did. So Shift C switches to anchor point tool. But if you use the Alt key and click on the Bezier curve, it will cancel the curve, and your anchor point will switch from the round to a corner like this. Okay, so here you will see that because when you look at a stylized version of a waveform, you can see that sometimes the direction of the line abruptly changes. While going this direction, it stops somewhere, and then while going towards like left or right, it stops somewhere and then goes down, up, just like this. So here what I'm doing is another important thing. By pressing Alt key again, you can actually, while you're in your pen tool or in the direct selection tool, if you select this line, this anchor point, and press Option key, you can hold this Bezier handle and manipulate only one part, right? And this happens in direct selection tool and the pen tool. So this is what I'm gonna do here instead of making a corner. So by combining these techniques, I will be creating this line work here. Okay, so if you look at this line work, I see some imperfections. Somewhere here, they're, in terms of the scale, they're same, but they don't really have too much going on, and I don't know if they should be in the same direction or in the opposite direction is appropriate. But perhaps maybe some more exaggeration could work in our case, and here there's not much flow happening. Perhaps I can introduce that. Okay, here's another thing. Because we canceled a part of this, in order to bring that Bezier handle back, I have to use the anchor point tool, Shift C, to restart the Bezier handle. Okay, so this is gonna take some time to perfect, but at this point I just want to get this away from the sketch so I can see it clearly, and before I do that, I would like to create a rectangle here and use these corner widgets to make the corners completely rounded, and if I do maximum, I will achieve this shape. Okay, so let's create another artboard here. I usually work with large artboards, but I really like the feature that when I do Command 1, it centers the current active artboard in my viewport. So here I just like reorient myself. If I'm somewhere here, like working in the details, and as soon as I do Command 1, it will bring me back to the artboard. Okay, this is really nice. I like the rotation. I like the free flow happening. Let's move this somewhere over here, just a little bit. Okay, we'll also apply a darker shade here. It's not gonna be a color, but a light gray, because we have so many different shapes here. I just want to apply different values rather than colors, so that this can communicate itself better. But for now, let's keep perfecting this wave. I am not afraid of taking risks because I already have a backup plan over here. Plus, if I want to take even higher level of risk, like something that irrevocably changes the fate of this logo, I would probably be better off copying this and having a side by side. I always have so many different variations. At the end of this work, we will have a lot of different copies. So I'm just not gonna touch this anymore because this is our original, and we will just build on this original by changing slightly different things. So maybe we have a wave coming like this, or maybe we have a crazy wave that flows better and perhaps goes inside just a little bit here. But I don't like how abrupt this part is, so I will probably recover this side of the anchor point. I can switch to my anchor point tool and come here again. Okay, direct selection tool back. Okay, this is not bad. See, like this looks now very monotone, but this introduces more dynamism. The one thing that I don't like is that it's so deep, it's so obvious, it almost bothers me. So I will have to move this whole thing somewhere over here. We can have a hierarchy. You see, we have one, is it the largest wave. We have now number two, which is the second largest wave, and then this is the number three, the third largest. So I think we just achieved a very nice hierarchy here. You see how I'm trying to like reduce the influence of this handle and increase this handle to get better flow, but I think overall it's getting really good. Okay, all right, now this is good. I'm not gonna bother this work anymore because I'd like to split everything. So for that I will take this. To be honest, I think there are better ways to do this, but I'm just used to doing this way. So first of all, I will lock this stroke, but before I lock it, I am gonna take a copy, Command C, and then with Command 2 it won't be selectable, and anytime if I do like Command V, I will be able to bring this shape. So it's in the memory of my computer. If I do Command Shift V, it will directly bring that shape onto the location where I initially copied it. It's an amazing feature that you will be using a lot. So right now I delete it. There's nothing there. Okay, Command Shift V, bring it, switch it. So now there's no fill color. I use this button and I'll show you closely. I use this button to switch the stroke color to the fill color, and because there wasn't anything in the fill color, now there's nothing in the stroke because I switched it. So I'll do it a couple more times. You can see it. Okay, pretty good. Now I will choose this, and I'll do the same thing. I will copy one, but I won't paste it. I'll just select these two things and divide them. Ungroup. You see, after I divided this shape and this line together, Illustrator, let me reduce the opacity of these, you can see. So let's make this 50, let's make this 30. Illustrator divided this shape, and now I have two shapes, but the line disappears. So if I want to use the line again, I can bring it back by using Command Shift V. Okay, perfect. And I would like to get rid of this remaining part. Some of you might say, no, keep it, it looks good. I agree, it looks good, but I'd like to take it away. You know, I wouldn't take it away, I would probably use it. I would also experiment doing something like, what if it goes back, right? Something like that. It brings in another dimension to the logo. But in my case, I'll just remove it. I can do this with many different ways. But for now, what I'm gonna do, I will first lock these two objects so they are not selectable, including the stroke. Stroke is still locked. I will show you how to unlock those. I will come here, do a command Y to switch to the outline view, and select my pen tool and make sure that my line work is selected. Select the pen tool and introduce an anchor point here. Once I do that, I can select this point, delete it. It will be deleted. Same thing here. I will come this part, introduce an anchor point, but I'm doing that in a way that here even not good. So right on the path so that things won't really bother me. Okay, we are doing great so far. And to unlock the objects that are locked, you can do Command Option 2, or you can go to Object, Lock or Unlock. These functions will be here, but it takes so much time to take the mouse from here to here. I don't like it. I use shortcuts. That's why they are called shortcuts. Shortcut. Okay, so pay attention. We have one solid here, solid shape, and we have several strokes. I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Yes, we have 5 different shapes creating this. And I want one more thing. I want this part of the iceberg to have a different shading. In order to do that, I will follow a different path. So the reason why every time I click on this line, Illustrator selects this whole shape is because in the hierarchy, this shape is on top of the line work. That's why anytime I click on it, it selects the top layer. So if I do like blue and increase the opacity, you'll see that it obstructs the line behind. I can easily send this back, arrange send to back, and do the same thing here. It is see the line because it has a lower opacity, but now I'm just gonna remove the opacity and let's send to back. Okay, let's, instead of giving opacity, let's give them shadings, these shades of gray. This should be darker. Okay, so we will introduce one more shade that will be lighter than this, but darker than this. And this will be the lightest. So I can do this in multiple different ways, but I'm wondering what would be the best way, what would be the cleanest way. I think the cleanest way would be just copying all these, just getting rid of the things that I don't need. Like right now I need this back. I'll show you why I need it. I will even change the color so that you can see there's a shape here, but these are separated. I won't need this one because these guys already are having the same pattern here. And I will need this, but I don't need the stroke. So I will switch it back to solid, and I don't need the stroke here. So these three, when I divide these and ungroup it, I will be able to get these pieces. I'm only doing this because I am feeling confident that this has a potential right now. If it didn't, I wouldn't be doing this. I would be doing something completely different. So let's put all the shadings in the background. So this is the last layer. This is one above. Perhaps this is also one above, but we have to make sure that these strokes, these lines are on top of everything. Okay. Let's first start with the same shading. First of all, I'm just gonna do darker, even darker, like something like this. And take this one, make it lighter. Perfect. And here it's very light, but it's kind of... Okay, now I think it's good. Okay, so if this wasn't the final shape, I wouldn't be doing any of these shadings. And if I were to do the shadings, I would first figure out the form, because I know how it is going to look like. I know the idea here. All I need to do is to see it. And this is not the final shape. Like I will be able to uh, think of this in a completely different way. And you can still achieve this those three different shadings without really dividing things. Like you can create this with the stroke, and you can apply this color here, and when you have, and you can add white fill inside this and send it back. Sorry, send to back. And look, if I combine these, oh wait, let's get one more thing. In this case, I'm taking the same thing without divided and filling, basically putting the fill, send to back. Okay, so all I need to do is, like in this case, if I do opacity, it will not work because it will also get rid of the stroke. So what I can do is perhaps I can play with by selecting this, I can play with the blending mode. It's a little bit advanced. It may be advanced in your level. Perhaps you haven't been played with it. So if you open the opacity panel, you can see this is normal. You can change this to like multiply, or any other things might work. But I think in this case, multiply would preserve the stroke. In this case now I can change this waveform, and it will also look like the final form, but I don't have the same chance here because everything is separated. This is the final look. And once I'm done with this, then I would come back here and change like basically divide everything and try to achieve the same look on the left. Here, when I was bringing back these top and bottom shapes, I was not really being careful. I just need to align these one more time nicely. They don't have to be matching this one. It would be nice if they are matching, but make sure what you're choosing is what you want. Okay, next I will apply a type around this object, and I will also talk about how we can source our typeface, how we can choose the right typeface. We had the frozen and coast separated but following a path. You might think that we will be using our hands manually to arrange these letters, but Illustrator actually allows us to automatically make this configuration. It's pretty handy feature. But before that, let's start looking for the right typeface. Here what I have is a very nice geometrical typeface. I usually go to Adobe Fonts for finding my typefaces because it's easy to activate, specifically for educational purposes. I also ask my students to go here. I don't want them to pay for fonts or get pirated fonts. So the other options probably would complicate the process, and I think Adobe Fonts is the more streamlined, straightforward approach to find very nice custom typefaces for your projects. Okay, let's go to the website by typing Adobe Fonts here. So I would like to say geometric, clean. Oh, I can't do both. Looks like geometric. Perfect. Okay, so in the sample text area, let's write frozen coast. Reduce the text size. I think I'll be happy with most of these fonts. They are very similar in some ways, but most importantly, they really go with the brand. In this case, I would probably stay away from this one because F and R are always going to be right next to each other in my brand, and when I look at these, the difference in their width bothers me, so I will not use this font, but I'll try this one. This has much better balance. So we can go to the next. This is nice. This looks very natural, organic, because they're like irregular, because of its irregular lines, I think, in the anatomy, or the soft, yeah, the curved lines. I really like this font. At this point, if I am choosing a typeface, I also want to see how I can use this typeface in other materials like a menu or a sign. So what if I write ice cream with this typeface? Would that look like? So it kind of gives me small glimpses from the feature. It's very useful. So when I look at this now again with other words, I don't think my brand is going to this direction. It is not a bad direction, but not this direction. Something like this or that typeface. So more geometric and hard corners more preferable in my project. So in this case I can say ice cream, and this is good. Perhaps strawberry. Very good. Okay, I will save this for later. Just mark it as my favorite. And let's look at this one. Frozen Coast. Very nice. I don't like the A. I don't like how A looks like, but this could be a good logo. There is a similar typeface to this one. It's called Bebas, but I don't know if Adobe font. Okay, it has. Let's see. It only has one variation. That is, yeah, it's good. Unfortunately, it only has one variation, which is not good. But there's another. It looks like there's another version that is also has one variation. It must be a very tough one to make variations for. Okay, let's go back to our search. Okay, here. Because I want the, I'm putting a filter here as a narrow width. For now, I'll just switch to clean, or I will switch to sans serif. It will actually filter it to the point where it's gonna be workable for me, I think. Barlow is a good font. Let me see. It has great variations. This is very similar to what I was going for. In some cases, especially in your cases, if you're not sure about condensed or what do you call wide, even extended, you can actually make many different experiments with different variations. But in my case, perhaps it's because of I'm more experienced with the fonts, so I was able to sketch it, and I'm just trying to find something similar. That's fun. Okay, so this is nice too. I'll just look at that. I think this is it. I use DIN for so many things, but it's just one of the fonts that you can't beat. It's so good. It's great font. It's an amazing font. This is a variable font though. I will just try to look for a true type font family. Okay, add the family. Okay, so we have light and regular. We'll go with this. It's too bad that it only has two versions. Okay, let's write this too one more time. I think Barlow has. I will go with Barlow. Din, Akshar should work for us too, I think. Ice cream, but doesn't have enough variations for my case. I'll just not use it. This is good, but mostly bold, so I'll just stay away from it. Mondial. I'll add this. I will not use this one. I'll not use Bebas. We add this one. We add Barlow. I will also add semi-condensed. And because I'm adding Barlow, I'll also look for if Barlow has a regular family. Okay, it does. So I'll add this too, just for for the paragraphs. We'll talk about that. Why we are using condensed and or a regular, more wider versions for text. Okay, I think I will go with Barlow condensed and try the semi-condensed too. So let's go back. I need a shape that is wider than our current shape, but I cannot just take it and make it larger. If I copy it, make it larger like this, and then even distort it, it will be not the same thing of extending. There is a good tool. First of all, before doing anything, let's take another copy. Keep the original here. There's another tool that we will be using. So select your outline layer or object. Go to object, path, offset path. You see this, in this case, everything is equally extended. So I'm gonna make the type get close, but not touching to the emblem. So we'll use something like this and say OK. Go to type tool and use type on path. This tool, type on path. And click on the path that you want to write type. Frozen. We're not going to write the coast yet. We're just going to write the frozen part. So this is great. We have the frozen part. And I don't need the, you know what I'm going to do? I will copy this for now. Let's copy this in the, because we accomplished something. Let's copy it. The computer will keep it in the memory. And I'll do command Z, 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 Z. Okay, perfect. This is great because I can just like paste this somewhere here. As you can see, it's on the path. And I will do one more time. And this time, actually, I can just copy this one because it's the same thing. Frozen. And then this time I will say coast. I'm doing this for a reason. If you pay attention, the frozen part is aligned from the bottom of the letters and then the coast from the top. Because of that, they cannot be the same kind. One of them has to change. We will do that direction change by going to type on a path, type on a path options. There are other options here. You can use like, you can do skew, you can do 3D ribbon, introduce more letters so you can see the difference. It basically rotated the letters. It's a pretty cool effect if you have a use case to use it, but I don't. There's this variation. Always stay away from, if you're using Latin alphabet, arranging your letters in vertical setting. Always use horizontal. Like let's say if you have this word and if you want to write it like this, it actually kills the natural tendency of reading a text in Western cultures. So if you have a space that you want to if you have a very narrow vertical space and you still want to use that space and put a large text, usually it would be something like you have an image here and you have text space here. Perhaps this is a spread of a magazine. You can actually still bring this text and achieve a similar effect but make it more legible, believe it or not, by rotating this and fitting it in this vertical area. You are still helping your audience read this text in a much easier way than using something like this. And since we have seen the sign for thousands of times in our lifetime, every time we see something like this, we read it easily. Hotel, yes, but we do not know what this means. As soon as you look at it, it's harder to read than this arrangement. Perhaps it's personal, but this really hurts my brain when I look at it. Okay, so we have the coast. We will go back to our rainbow, which is the default, and go to type on a path options. Here we'll say, if you do preview, you'll see the changes. We'll say flip. As you can see, it flipped. And now I have to bring this down by using these handles. Arrange it however I want to. I will show you a like much better way to do this. You have to be patient with these handles. It's very hard to control them. It's not sensitive enough. I don't know if you've seen it, if you have seen it, but yeah, these are vertical lines that gives you the space that you can write letters. So if you make it narrower, you'll start losing the text. So we have frozen and coast. Okay, let's zoom in. And I can bring this here, bring this there. It's legible. I just need to resize them. But look what's happening. When I put my coast somewhere here, it is not actually working properly. So I have to make this larger, but then I'm ruining the shape, the natural outline path. So what I need to do is I need to come up with another outline that either extends this, or I need to come up with another schema here, a setting that changes how the letter is aligned. In this case, I'm using ascender instead of descender or the baseline. Baseline is more robust because it just puts all the letters on the line that they sit, the imaginary line that they sit. Ascender is, it goes above the capital letters because this is the ascender line. Here I'll show you, this is the ascender line. This is the cap height. You see, these are different, and it varies depending on the font. And this is the X height, and finally this is the baseline. So we did ascender. It's close to our purposes, so we don't really have to make this larger. I think we did at this point. So let's just, I will bring it back again. Let's do it one more time. Here, all we do is get rid of all these guys. We have this. Go to type and open up the type tool. Select the type on a path tool. Click on the type path that you want to write on, and it has to be selected in the first place. And write frozen. I usually use center because it centers my it centers everything very well. And then I do change the orientation. So like I take it from here, sorry, to here. So I have the frozen on the top. So whenever I make it larger, it will always sit in the same place. And then we will have the coast here. So in that case, I'll just like copy this and then paste it on the same place by doing Command Shift P. I'll say coast. As you can see, it's on top of each other. Go to type on a path, options, flip it, and select ascender. In this case, you'll do the opposite of what you did in for the other letter, the word frozen. Okay, and the next, this is a very hard exercise. If you're a beginner, this is going to perhaps frustrate you a lot, but I'm here to help if you have any questions. So don't forget that, like, because this is a ascender line, you got this extra space, and if you look at here, there's not much space, so you have to balance that. I'm just using my eye here to make the type smaller, but at the same time try to preserve that line. If it doesn't work well, I will recreate the outline by creating a create outline command, or using the create outline function to achieve a better line or result. So let's go with Barlow. We have the Barlow condensed, and we'll do bold. Okay, let's make it larger. It's not bad, but I would like to make it smaller and increase the kerning. Actually, this is called tracking. Tracking is the spacing between the letters in a word or the paragraph but this is like applying the same spacing rule. And the kerning is manipulating perhaps A and B, let's say, and C. And the kerning is just changing the individual, like giving different spacing based on the optical arrangement of the letters. Sometimes, like, because the A invades so much space here, but then there's an asymmetrical imbalance in the anatomy of A. There's a lot of empty white space here. In order to like overcome that, you can probably give A more, make the A get closer to B than C. But here it's not a good example, but because of the shape of the letters, perhaps like if you are working with Helvetica, this could be more obvious, I think. And you can see that kerning is here, the setting is here, and the tracking is right here. So sorry, I did that without telling you how I was doing. It's easy actually. You press the Alt key, and with arrows on your keyboard you can change this setting from your keyboard so easily. Okay, because of the way that this two different functions work, it is aligning from the ascender, here it is aligning from the baseline. You can see there are extra spaces here. I need to optically get rid of that. So I am reducing the tracking of these letters and expanding these a little bit more. And let's look at the whole logo. I'll just bring imaginary lines, these guidelines, and look at this whole thing. Like, what does this look like? Perhaps maybe I will increase the coast a little bit. Just to, you can see that because it has more letters in this word, the coast was almost disappearing. Let me see. What's this? 28. Let's put 28. We can see that in the second plane, it looks like Frozen in this arrangement has more hierarchy and importance, but by making it a little bit larger, I think we are getting rid of that, balancing the structure. I will make things perfect once I'm feeling happier about the overall shape. But right now everything is experimental, optical, but at the same time also investing in my future, so keeping also things tidier helps me too. Here what I'm trying to figure out is that is this a very long logo or not? For logos, it's important to have an aspect ratio that is not too wide or not too tall, because if you're making like a banner that is this tall, this logo will work perfectly. It will have great visibility. But when you switch to something, let's put it like green color. When you switch to something like a store sign and try to work with this logo, it will actually work against you. So vice versa, if you have a very wide logo, it will not have great visibility in areas that is narrow and tall. This is something that always keep in mind. So that's why I was thinking, like, is there an opportunity for me to play with this shape a little bit like this before I do anything further? So like perhaps I can make this a little bit more shorter, which would help me to make the entire logo shorter. Since I just did this like quickly, let's compare these two things and let's see what you will think. I'll lock this one and try to bring this. For some reason, I'll lock this one too for now. Let's lock these guys. Okay, first time. This is also an interesting thing. The iceberg is leaving, but I don't know, perhaps it is not good in this case. I don't also want my audience to completely be oblivious about what's going on in this logo. Okay, I'll fix it quickly. Easy fix. Horizon coast. Do you see? It's actually achievable. There's so much empty area that is not being used. So it is actually possible to use less area and achieve the same effect, which will help me to place my logo on vertical layouts more efficiently. I will create outlines. Just I'm converting all the text for now, just to select things much easier, and I'm grouping them. Okay, don't worry about the changing the stroke colors. I talked about this with the monogram. So if you look at this, now I have actually much better visibility here than this one. Okay, perfect. I think it's a great place to stop. And for your submission, as a reference, again, we are proposing 3 ideas, and this is a great place to stop, to propose this idea. If this is not approved, you don't want to waste your time by perfecting this. And sometimes the clients will not be able to understand or see the vision that you have. It's still by keeping things in black and white, like perhaps you can just add this logo to some things by keeping still things black and white to show how this logo will function. I think it will also be helpful for you to see your work in this way too. I'm just going to change the blending mode to multiply. It will apply this logo to the t-shirt. So like the more you do these activities, the more comfortable you will get, and this will help your client and yourself to see your work in use, and it will give you some ideas. Maybe you'll be able to criticize it from a different perspective. All right, I hope this was helpful. In this third part, we are going to create another alternative that is mostly composed of typographic elements, letters, and perhaps very simple shapes. The purpose here is to create an ice cream cone or a composition that gives us the idea. Frozen Coast is an ambiguous name when we think of it as an ice cream brand. I am going to use this configuration as an opportunity to support the meaning of the brand identity. I actually started looking for an appropriate typeface so that we have more time in this video with designing, and I also went through this process, so repeating it will be unnecessary. I have several variations, and I favored them, and now I'm filtering them. You can see all these are my favorites. All I need to do is here to just find something that is similar. If you can look at this part, I really like how nice this looks. I would say cute, lively, energetic image. So type is an image. We have to accept that. The way that you configure letters will drastically impact the meaning. I will, for now, just copy this sketch and create another artboard somewhere here. Another artboard. Let's keep this there for now. I think it's better to just make this smaller. I am using the Alt and Shift key to proportionately make this smaller. Okay, so I can zoom in and see what is going on. When you make an image smaller or larger in Illustrator, it doesn't really impact the quality of that image. But if you're working in Photoshop and doing these operations with images, you have to be very careful, because you will be losing a lot of information from that image if you're just casually making them smaller and larger. That's why I am very relaxed about resizing the images. Here we have our arrangement. I feel like I should start working on this one, and then I will just I'd like to see how that looks like with a particular typeface, and then perhaps I will be able to try different typefaces, or I will manipulate the composition in a way that it works. So let's start with this one for that reason. And this one is really nice too, but I will keep this in mind too. And come back here. For now, I'll just add this family and start with Harry. Okay, and we have 12 fonts in this family, so that is great. Okay, so I will remember I can lock things in my artboard by using Command 2, and I can do Command Option or Alt 2 to unlock it. For now, I'm just locking this. We had the typeface installed. It's called Hari. I'll go with regular version or semi-bold. Let's start with semi-bold. The first letter, and with the first letter F. Put it here. And then I think semi-bold wasn't a good idea. Now I look at it, so, but I'm not worrying too much. I will have more chances to fix this or manipulate it. Frozen. The O happens to be very wide. Let's rotate it this way. I can read this brand because I know the brand in my mind, but I have to test this for so many times with so many different people to make sure that it is also legible for to an unknown eye or an unknown brain. Frozen. But I really like how the typeface works. See, I'm using separate letters because it gives me the greatest control. It would be impossible to do this with a regular with one word. So once we are happy with this, I will convert them from being letters to shapes, because letters have this extra spaces. So as you can see, if I want to select this, it's almost like a collision area. If your mouse is, when you're scanning, like let's say if I want to select this frozen part, you'll see that it also will select the C too. It gets annoying. So once you're happy with your arrangement, you can just convert it to shapes. And that happens with this function. You go to type and say create outlines. And I usually use the shortcut for that, Command Shift O. Let me show you with or without that. So this is now converted. If you look at it in the outline view, it is now one is on the left is the still type. It's still a text. These are text objects, but on the right we have shapes, basically based on the appearance of these letters. So if I want to choose frozen, I can easily do that because the collision part is only bounded by the shape of the object itself. Okay, so for now I'll just delete this and I'll add this final shape by using a proper triangle. Here's a place where I don't use pen tool or organic form. I need to take the polygon tool and do one left click on the artboard wherever I want to. For the sides I enter 3. Radius is not that important. You can always make it smaller. Here you go. We have the triangle. Okay, now let's take a copy of this work right here. And we can make it larger. Okay, I'm gonna take another copy of this. And in this one, I will try to move a couple things here and there because I was heavily relying on the drawing itself. Like you can see, there's like very nice relationship created by making N be a little bit closer. Perhaps E can be also closer and C can be closer. Remember the Gestalt principles. The proximity is important, but at the same time, in this way, perhaps is it okay to make these too close to each other or make it separate? And then what happens in this combination? And I feel like there's some imbalances here. Like if you look at this shape, if you, let's say we extrapolate this this line here. Let's make this line go, I'm just drawing a line. Just consider this as an imaginary line, not a final design. Like if we thought this composition in a triangle, like continuum of the triangle, you can see that while Z is so close to this line, N doesn't have that kind of dominance. And F being too large and Z being this close to here, it almost brings optically or visually brings everything heavy on the left and not much action happening on the right. So perhaps I can maybe give something to N here to balance that, or I don't want to make O too large. I also want to have a hierarchy here that follows like this order of first line is the largest, second line is the second largest, and so on. Or I will try something completely different where I can have a random distribution of varying sizes. So I can have an E that is large here, and N, so I don't have to really follow. And as long as things are legible, or as long as things are making sense, I can, perhaps I should put it this way, as long as I can justify my actions, I will be fine. Okay, so this arrangement is, I'm not sure, but I really like, if I compare this versus this, let's not think about these guys. I'll make this different color so you can see them differently. If I consider these two guys, I'll make them also front of a black background so you can see that the negative version of them too. I feel like the one on the right has much better balance, and for that reason I will just take another copy of this and keep working, keep polishing. There's always something that I will be fixing here. So perhaps I will make these a little bit smaller and bring my imaginary lines again just to guide me visually. Okay, here I am going to try something very different. I'm gonna make these lines be narrower, make this triangle be narrower, which will impact this one too, because I feel like ice cream is not this short and wide. When you think of the form of an ice cream, it is basically something like this. I'll just do a little bit narrower, just a little bit. And I would like to make this a little bit longer. So in that case, we will have something that, let's do it one more time. This is much better line. Again, I'm not using these lines to add to the design. These are just guiding me to find the right arrangement. Okay, I think this is great for now. I wish this. Ooh, this is very interesting. It is interesting, but unfortunately, the counter of the letter is very large. Looks like one scoop. So let's delete this guy and let's look at it without the lines. Hey, I think this looks really nice. The next thing is finding out if this is legible. This looks like a tasty ice cream to me. I don't know what you're seeing, but if you think of this, it's different. Mint is probably the worst decision in the first place. I mean, as the first color. So what we are doing is thinking will be legible or not. This is something very important for me to figure out. So I'm just trying to capture a glimpse from the feature. Okay, frozen. Yeah, it's not bad. It's okay. We also have these earthy colors that come with ice cream. They're nice. This could be the cone. Yeah, it would work. I really like the black version more. Here we go. I think I'm very confident with this variation, but for the submission I will just do the black and white version. Frozen Coast. Where would this be? Where would this be? Let's say if I will just put this in a triangle shape just to see how that will look like. Looks nice, but I don't think I will be adding these scoops. We'll see. Not bad at all. I really like how it gets out of that triangle, but I don't like that it looks like a stroke of the letter. It looks too orderly, which bothers me for some reason. Okay, this is nice. This is nice. I feel like it's gonna get there. Let's see. Let's do one more copy of this, and let's put F here. Frozen. It's not as legible, definitely, but we will see. We will see. We'll try this. Frozen. Okay, this doesn't have to be a perfect triangle. Frozen Coast. I like taking risks, but this looks like too much of a risk. Frozen. It looks nice though. It's gonna be a nice logo. If we make it legible, if you manage to make it legible, it's gonna be a really nice logo. No. It also looks like a head of a bird. Okay. Frozen Coast. Okay, so I am feeling good about this. Not great. It's gonna be great. With or without? Let's do this for now. It's just the same thing. I will copy this and see if I can. What do they look like? Yeah, it looks. I think I read it as from the coast. That's how I read it. From the coast. That N is too close. So let's not do that. R is necessary between F and O so that we can read it as fro. But perhaps I can make this a little bit smaller. This way. Frozen. There's that. So I can go like this. Obey the angle of the triangle. But it really confuses me. Make this smaller. Okay, I'm gonna take, instead of erasing it, I'll just turn it into black so that I can compare with black and white. Now it looks much better, I think. Like having these edges looks nice. It gives the idea of something is being held. Okay, this is it. This is good. Alright, we can take this, since they are like almost the same. But wait, let's just keep them together, and then I will open a new artboard, and this is my final. Let's do one more thing. In between these two, there's one that has a triangle. Try to complete this, but I think we don't need it. Do we need it? I don't think we need it. Let me see if I can manipulate it like something like this. No, really, I don't need it. So let's put it somewhere over here. What I do usually, I take a screenshot of this and I send to one of my friends at this point just to see if it's legible. By the way, now I see that this O is not doing well over there. There's so many things that I will recognize when I come back to this work later. Let's find an ice cream cup. I want ice cream on it so that I can see what is going on. Okay, I found it. There you go. My purpose was to not spend so much time. Here what you're gonna do is go to opacity and say multiply. It's blending it very nicely. We can have that. Wait, let's take this from here. Let's put our work. Okay. Sometimes I have to zoom in to my UI so to emphasize things. Perfect. I think this is good, and I can make crazy things like patterns like this. I created a clipping mask to mask the logo, and now just I'm manipulating the mask itself. So now if I go inside this mask and make this larger, this is nice. I'll reduce the opacity a tiny bit. But presentation is very important when you're pitching your ideas. To show your vision, it's also good to test your ideas. Like, what are the ways that I'll be able to use this logo? Am I going to just do one, or I'll be able to do something like this? Perhaps in this one, maybe I'll do up and down. I don't know. It may look unnecessary, but it can show you like what you can do with your logo. I think these are good activities to just do it. I feel like this part is being that just having, like, if I smooth this out, I can save a lot of spaces that the logo is wasting here. I feel like it could be much better to smooth it. Not this much, but something like that. What do you think? Sharp or smooth? Sharp or smooth? You know what? Now I look at these, I think the sharp one is much better. Yeah, let's go with the sharp one. Sorry, man. Bye-bye. Okay, well, I think, let me finish this. Make sure this is grouped before you change the opacity, the blending option. All right, happily we have the second alternative. We will develop another alternative. This is the last session of the logo design. We are translating our sketches into digital works, but these digital works will not be the final works, just digital drafts. Once we feel good about one strong direction, we will move forward and perfect that variation or perfect that logo. So in this part, I will be working with typography and pictograph for just a small component of the word mark here. I would like to explore these soft, rounded edges in this typeface. It just gives me the vibes of ice and powdery snow. I think it does a great job with visualizing the concepts coming with the name Frozen Coast. So we will just start with finding the right typeface, and we will set our type. Next we'll look at some reference images to see what a polar bear looks like, and a polar bear's key features defining its anatomy. Or we will have to abstract, we will have to take that natural image of a polar bear, and we will have to reduce the features that are not necessary. Let's just start with the type and see how we develop. Depending on how we develop the image here, we can make a final decision whether or not we will need this. I made several different variations. Like here, there's the polar bear is using the ice cream bowl as a boat and using the spoon to row itself. And I try to study polar bear anatomy in my sketches. I think this captures that overall qualities, but it still, the depiction is very close to the natural look, like very close to the nature, the reality. What we want to create is a new reality where we reduce unnecessary features, and we come up with a form that just captures the essence of polar bear. I think these are the most important ones. I think I am more like, I'm not letting go of this idea. I'm studying from different angles, and to be honest, I wasn't feeling strongly about this idea. That's why I let it go earlier. If this was an extremely exciting idea, I would be probably generating at least 20 variations. But again, we'll come back to this. So let's move on for now. Okay. So I am not going to go through this process again, but before starting this video, I already looked for some typefaces that look like this example here, this typeface that I sketched. So I'm not going to draw these letters. I would if it would bring any value to the project, but in this case I think I can be better off by using already ready-made typeface. So I have two options here. One is Omnes Georgian and the other is Sophia Soft. I like this more than Sophia. Yeah, I think I like the how T's and R's flow. Other than that, the qualities are very similar. But one thing that I have to keep in mind that I am not going to use the lowercase. I'll start with the uppercase. Perhaps I might go with the lowercase later, but my initial plan was the uppercase. So both cases is good. I just need to know that this has 4 fonts in the family, and Sophia Soft has 8 fonts. It may be more advantageous to go with Sophia if I am going to use this typeface also in the campaigns or other materials that I will be designing. It will give me more flexibility. And Sophia has other versions too. In that case, it would be beneficial, but I just want to look at the fonts underneath this. So it is basically Georgian was it looks like the main priority as a language while developing this typeface. So I am wondering if I can Frozen Coast. Yeah, it has a very good bold version. So let's make it larger and also write in lowercase Frozen Coast. Very good. Very good. I really like this. I'm going to create Frozen Coast. Before I do anything, I think I should create an artboard and copy this. Let's copy these two things. Create another artboard, and I don't have to work this large. Okay. Omnes Georgian. Frozen, and I'll have coast separate. Coast. Okay, so here's one problem. In my arrangement, coast is not that prominent. Here it may be more prominent than frozen, but I think it's not a problem. I don't like the space, the kerning between O and I. I'll reduce it just a little bit. Frozen Coast. Perfect. So this also is a proposal to have it as a word mark because it reminds me of ice cream. It is soft. It looks like something that I can grab from the shelf and I can eat it. It looks safe and friendly by itself. It's really nice that these two O's are aligning very well, and we have also this C that is very similar to O's. So it's something that keep it in mind. I played with this idea actually. I thought of, people go to frozen lakes and do ice fishing. Like, what if I align these O's and make fish come fish from here and go here? But it was going away from the ice cream idea. I could have maybe put a ice cream cone, something like that. Then I moved on. When I came up with this idea, I was very excited. So I think that was the only one. I also tried to use ice cream scoops, the bowls that created by using the scoop, but it really didn't yield something exciting to me. Okay, so we have this. Now we will have to start drawing this character. Before you start anything like this, I would suggest you to do research. Look at examples. You can look at other illustrations, other people's work. This is a great way to get inspirations in a way to see how people previously solved the problems that you're tackling with. So I will collect some reference imagery just to analyze these animals. And these poses are very close to my current one. So I am actually collecting related poses. And you'll see I'll just use them. I will not trace them. I will not do anything with them. I'll just look at them and try to visually analyze them to see like what is the proportion of this ear to head, and how big the nose is from the eye. Does that really matter? But we'll see that. Okay, I'll start with this. This polar bear is not a happy polar bear, and I'll just mask this. I don't know if you know how to mask anything in Illustrator. You can start with a shape. As long as this shape is on top of the thing that you want to mask, it could be a vector image, it could be photograph. You have to select both of them and right click and say make clipping mask. Basically this shape that is on top of other thing becomes mask for that. You still preserve the main image, so be careful with that. It doesn't really go anywhere. And if you're using the direct selection tool, you can actually move this image within the mask ruining, or you can just you can double click this whole thing. It will make you go inside this group, and you can manipulate this, and you can select your shape, you can manipulate that, and I'll try to collect other things. Okay, these are my references. Currently I can collect more if I need to. Okay, so our first reference is actually the drawing itself. Let's start with this. We have this one arc that is emulating the whole body and connecting to the head. I think it could be nice to just like bring something here with one line and